Thank you, Thaddeus. So Sam shared a whole lot about all of the sex education that he got. But for me, my experience was pretty different. Like Nellie, like Thaddeus, I just didn't get a lot of sex education. And by the time I got to high school, the religious right had just done so much to target schools and sex education, and they were pretty hesitant to teach anything at all. And so we got one lesson in one class in 9th grade from Coach Schoaf, the ladies' soccer coach, and she gave us a presentation on STDs. And it was mostly slides that were close-up pictures of skin with sores, all designed to gross us out, and accompanied with a lecture about how this is exactly what will happen to you if you ever dare to have sex. And then she got lost in this very long tangent about how we should never use OB tampons because they don't have an applicator, and we would have to touch ourselves, which would be nasty. And I still remember the gesture that she made while she told us this, and we weren't the only kids who got this lecture. Like, you could walk down the halls of the high school, and if Coach Schoaf was in the hall, you would hear, because the classes weren't separated, like we were all together, you would hear the guys yell, "OB," as she walked down the hallway. So we didn't get a lot of information, and we certainly didn't get any information that was positive about sex. We didn't get what I would think you could legitimately call sex education. And so we tried to find information anywhere we could get it. I had a pretty dog-eared copy of Our Bodies Ourselves. It is what my parents gave to me in lieu of any conversation. They gave it to me on my 13th birthday at a steakhouse. Was bringing out the complimentary brownie a la mode, and I skipped over any of the sections that really would have served me well about body positivity or pleasure or my own body, and I went straight to the botched abortions and politics and lesbians, but it was a very dog-eared copy. And we went straight to any advice about sex or relationships the second we got any sort of teen magazine in the mail. But mostly, we just pondered our questions aloud at the lunch table. And sometimes somebody would have an answer, and sometimes I'm pretty sure people would make up a lot of answers. Lots of times people would crowdsource information, so should Tina have sex with her boyfriend? Mostly we just wanted to send Tina off on a field excursion so she could come back and tell us everything. She did, and it did not go well. But the best question we ever got came from my friend Robin. And Robin was, and still is, one of those innately likable people. She was extremely smart. She was also from a very strict Catholic home. And her dad, for the entire time we were growing up, was our town's chief of police. And Robin's defining quality was that she was notoriously gullible. And we had a lot of fun with that. And so one day, Robin asks us this question. So, foreplay. What are the 4 things? And we recognized the opportunity immediately. So we let her start guessing. What are these 4 things? And she starts with kissing. And we're like, yeah, kissing is definitely one of the things. And then about touching. And about that time, she, like the bell rings and we all have to go back to class. But over the course of the next few weeks, Robin keeps bringing up this question. Like we go back to our normal conversations, but Robin interjects with her new latest list of the 4 very specific things you must do before you have sex. And so, it starts out with like, okay, kissing, touching your boobs over the shirt, touching your boobs under the shirt, touching your butt, kissing, touching your boobs, touching your butt, fingering. And about midway through, we had realized that like Robin thinks this works like a video game, that like you have to unlock different levels. Do these 4 things in a specific order in order to have sex. And about midway through, she has this epiphany. It occurs to her, oh my God, you guys, do we have to do foreplay to guys too? So now she's not just looking at 4 things, she's looking at like 8 things. She's looking at 4 things over here and 4 things over here. Finally, we filled her in. We told her what was up, and she was disappointed. Not because we'd been screwing with her, she was pretty used to that. She was just really upset that like there wasn't a straightforward answer available to this question. And like we didn't have any place to get straightforward answers. We didn't have a teacher like Nellie or like Marlies. We had Coach Shove. And we didn't have the internet. That wasn't available to us yet. And so all we had was a lunch table full of just us. There's this like mythology that things get more progressive over time, and for lots of issues that is true, and that's great. But it hasn't been the case with sex education. And so, so you hear about what Sam got in the 60s and 70s, and teens in the 60s and 70s and 80s, they got so much more information than kids today are getting. They got more information than schools today would dream of providing. Yes. And then by the time I was in high school, I got a lecture about OB tampons and touching myself. And now, even in 2019, when in North Carolina we have a law that says that schools are supposed to teach about lots of different things. They're supposed to teach about abstinence, but they're also supposed to teach about birth control. They're supposed to teach about STIs. They're supposed to teach about condoms. They're supposed to teach a little bit about sexual assault and sexual abuse. Even though that's in the law, there are school systems where they will tell the teachers, you're required to provide this by law and you need to do that. But in the school system, you just can't say the word sex. So Robin turned out pretty okay. Like she went off to college and she figured things out really fast in college, faster than some of us did. And we still, we're still in touch, we still talk to each other, and on the rare occasions we're able to get together with some of our friends from high school, we will sometimes refer to her by her nickname, Foreplay. One of the really amazing things about working at Shift NC is that we get to exist in this like really wonderful community of sex educators who are really brave and bold and willing to provide young people with the information that they need. Because what young people need are straightforward answers, and they need them right away when they ask the questions. There's no need for them to wait, and they need them from a reliable source. And it's an amazing community to be a part of. And I'm deeply appreciative of the work that they do, and I think about how appreciative I am of the work they do very often when I walk into work in the morning. And thanks to Coach Shove, every single time I'm on the tampon aisle at Target.